I had just arrived to Prague. And you literally walk into a swimming pool, but with no water inside, of course. And she was DJing in the middle of the swimming pool.
When I started, there were only few female DJs, like Luca, Ladida. To me, it was a little bit difficult to gain respect from this man world. And not just to be, pretty face, like DJing, trying to mix, but also to say, okay, she's one of us.
Welcome back to On The Rail with Techno Tosh, guys. I am sitting here with Jaqullin in Prague in the Czech Republic, and I don't know if all of you guys know, but I actually have been living in Prague for almost 2 years now from the US, and so I'm trying to make my rounds with all of the local DJs, and I actually first caught her at Swim Club, which I was telling you the last time that we saw each other. There was this little place called Swim Club, like next to a hotel in the middle of the center of Prague, and she was one of the acts on the lineup. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't know what Swim Club was. Like, I had just arrived to Prague, and I just walk in. It's this dark, like super dark with some like red laser lights, and you literally walk into a swimming pool, but with no water inside, of course. And she was DJing in the middle of the swimming pool. So that was the first time that I was introduced to her. And then ever since, I've been able to catch a few of her sets in different places actually around Prague. I think every time I've seen you, you've played in a different venue. So she's definitely an important person to look out for if you guys come to Prague, and especially if you like techno music. But welcome to the show. So I want to start first by you just telling us your musical journey. Like, where did you start with music? Tell us your background, your influences, and basically what brought you to DJing today.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I've been into music my whole life because I was playing guitar, piano, flute, these kind of things. And then I have danced a lot, different styles. So I've always been somehow into music, different genres. But then when I was 14, 15, I guess, my friends took me to one of the clubs in Brno, Sedmenebe. I think I haven't had even my ID, and I just fell in love with the music immediately. It was like, just wow, electronic music. I haven't had many experience with that, but then I really was immersed into that. And since then, I was like, I need to be, DJ. I need to go to parties, and I went there like every Friday. I asked one of the local DJs if they can teach me. And then I started after school, going to this club, training, and I was really bad, to be honest, from the beginning. And somehow I made my journey going on, and it's still been on somehow.
Did you have any particular goals with it, like when you started, or was it just purely passion and you ended up where you are now?
Well, I didn't know what's gonna happen in a few years. I just knew that I like it and I want to continue somehow. And obviously I wanted to be myself, to be better and better, play at better and better parties. So I think I've always had some, goal where next to play, but I didn't know that I was gonna be where I am now. So I was, I guess, kind of lucky. But second thing is that I think that lots of DJs, they just, they're really excited in the beginning, and then after a few years or maybe months, they're like, maybe it's not for me. It's actually a lot of work, which they didn't know before. So I think to just continue with this thing and really be patient also brings the...
I think what's interesting to me is when you started, for example, and you started practicing. For me, I'm new to the scene in Czech Republic. So when I came here, I'm coming from basically a scene in Miami, which is very different from European, from Czech Republic in specific. So I learned a lot being here in the last 2 years, and basically was exposed to a different side of music that I wasn't necessarily exposed to before, because it is different when you go to different places, especially with electronic music as well. It's not like you have a Taylor Swift song and then you hear it all over the world. Like, no, you go in different pockets, and especially underground, you hear different kind of music with electronic music. And being a female, I'm curious how it was for you when you first started compared to now, because I see a lot of female DJs in Prague, at least, because that's where I'm normally kind of going out. I see a lot of female DJs now, but I'm curious how it was when you started and how that's evolved.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think when I started, there were only few like female DJs on the scene, like Luca, Ladida, these. And I think that it wasn't that usual. And also, I see this trend going on, like lots of like pretty good-looking girls playing now, kind of trend, I guess. But yeah, to me, it was a little bit difficult to gain respect from this man world. Not just to be, pretty face, like DJing, trying to mix, but also, to say, okay, she's one of us. So, and that's actually, because you see lots of bad examples on the scene, internationally, locally. So you really need to, like, go through, like, deep dive into the music first, and then, yeah, you're there, I guess.
What's one moment where you felt like, okay, I have the respect now? Is there like any moment that you can recall, or maybe a few that you were like, okay, this is a moment where you feel comfortable and where you want to be?
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly where this point was. I just remember that, like, I don't know, a few years back, there were lots of new bookings, new venues, like, going on. And yeah, so I see that new people are booking me, asking for me. So somehow, and it was usually based on recommendation from someone. And from this person usually was a good DJ, someone I respect as well, and is well respected on the scene. So it's probably the point where I feel like I'm respected as well. So
that's cool. That's good to know that it's from your peers, because sometimes, like you said, people, this is the worst misconception, I think, but of course it can apply to some people. Most people assume girls get a free pass because they hook up with somebody or they're involved from it, whatever. This is always the assumption that anytime there is a success for a female, and it's not just in this industry, but of course that's the assumption, oh, they slept with somebody to get this booking, which, yes, it does happen. And also, guys, this is one point I want to say. People also fall in love. So it's just not just like, sometimes you get feelings for people and they are in the scene because that's all you're around. But just saying. But no, that's cool to hear that other DJs were recommending you, because I feel like maybe sometimes you're the one that's trying to push yourself and get the booking, or maybe promoters are just looking for a name and they book you. So it's cool that you got the respect from the other people that you respected as well, to be able to like recommend you. Was there anybody that was in the scene that you feel like, or just any person, it doesn't have to be from the scene, that really like kind of was like a marker for you in your success? Like maybe was there a specific residency or a specific booking that kind of changed things for you?
I don't have anyone specific on mind. I would say it was very, very individual, but you mentioned some concept or some party that might like highlight myself a little bit more, and that's definitely Cube Events. So once I became kind of resident for Cube Events, and since I've been playing there, definitely is something that has helped me over the time, for sure.
Were you there for the beginnings, or?
I don't remember, to be honest. But I guess yes. I remember one of the first parties. I'm not sure if it was first party, but one of the first parties I've already been there, but not as a resident. It's just, somehow happened over the time that I'm there almost always. So
tell us a story about Cube Events, because I know I see your name on the lineups pretty much all the time for the Cube Events, which is a really big event group here that I've tried to have Robert on before, but he's a little bit camera shy, maybe especially with English, but Robert is the person that's puts together Cube events here, and I've interviewed some artists, the headliners that have been booked that are coming from different countries or different cities to come and play Cube events, and the supporting DJs, one of them is Jaqullin. So, and hopefully we have Broken Robot on too, because he's also one of the residents for that, but they're normally on the lineups, and I was curious like how that relationship started. I don't know if it was with Robert or if a DJ recommended you for you to be able to get that booking and maybe help other people understand like how it is to be able to get to that place in their local scene.
Yeah, I think it was Robert, but it's been a long time and probably I don't remember things. But I would say that to get where I am now is just to be, patient and consistent. Probably the consistency is one of the first things that I should mention. To really not give up and to produce these days as well. And yeah, just not to go only to good parties. Because I have started as a DJ in the middle of nowhere, playing for almost no one, but almost no one here and almost no one there. And if these people gather at one big event, it's not that little people in the end. So even the some small town or village party somewhere can get you new followers, new fans. So not to be like only Prague and Brno parties, and also support local events somewhere else. That might help as well to gain some trust and respect. And what else, I don't know.
Yeah, sure. And how do you feel like your sound has evolved? Because in the earlier days, you were playing house music?
Yeah, it was kind of house, tech house. I was much slower, the BPM. Because when I started, there was drum code on the top, 124 BPM. This some Paganini's rave and these. So, very, very different style. But somehow, you see that you're DJ as well, so you see that the sound is evolving. There are lots of influences. There's psytrance, hard styles now. So yeah, the sound evolves. And yeah, it was I guess 10 years back ish. Transition from tech house to techno. So since then I'm loyal.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I feel the same. When I started my show, I was putting playlists together on Spotify, and the earlier playlists were like mostly tech house, but I always had some techno in there. And I think at that time, Space 92 had just come out with Gravity EP, and it was like maybe like a month into me starting this show in particular. So I was already putting some of that stuff in there, but now it's like full techno. I was like, I don't know if you guys are gonna ride with me or not, but I'm like, we're going techno now. Sorry, not really any house and tech house anymore. No. But no, I'm curious, like, since your sound has evolved, and of course that's just part of the trends, you get inspired by different kinds of music. What do you feel about the trends right now? Because of course, harder, faster is the trend right now. I know that you do play some harder stuff. You do play faster, and I'm curious if you've ever like lost inspiration or touch with like your connection to the music because of a trend, and how do you feel about trends?
Yeah, to be honest, nowadays trends, I don't like it that much. I like groovy stuff. I'm really okay with playing faster, but these I call it neurave. These hard styles, influences into techno, not to me. And as I said, the consistency needs to be there. You can be somehow a little bit influenced by the trends, but I always try to stay on where I am and try to add a little bit of this, a little bit of that based on the trends, but never to lose myself or my sound. But hearing my sets from, 3-4 years back, there's actually some change for sure. I would lie if I say there's no. So.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's natural to evolve, especially as an artist, right? Yeah. You want to be inspired and create in a different way. Yeah. What about, do you feel like you ever had an I made it moment, or was there a special time in your DJ career that you felt super proud of yourself for accomplishing?
Well, not many of those. I mean, I'm super happy every time I finish my set because people are usually happy. So if they're happy, I'm happy, and I'm happy about the music, like generally. So, but obviously, if there are like big parties, like I don't know, all the Cube events, or I don't know, last year Beats for Love, when you have like hundreds of people there and they're really like shouting and yeah, it's really something. But I mean, I'm not really like proud, like I did it, but it's nice. There are really nice moments, of course. So yeah, I have goosebumps almost always when I finish my sets, and I see people like being grateful what we achieved together, those vibes. So
That's nice. You're giving me goosebumps too, just talking about it. No, that's a super nice feeling. And do you know what's the biggest crowd you've played for? Like amount of people?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I really don't know. maybe 1,000 something. Yeah.
Okay. No, cool. So I know that you have a very big hobby in your life, and I'm sure there's others that I might not know about. I find it super interesting. So I have like this secret love for like mountain climbing and stuff. Like I don't even know if I'm calling it right, like rock climbing and stuff. And I watch like numerous I think I've watched too many documentaries about like Mount Everest and like YouTube, like people climbing, like actually documenting vlogging, and like movies and all free solo with like no harness, no chains, climbing up like giant. She likes to do this, okay, guys? I don't know to like which level of advanced or not, but to me, she posted a story the other day and I was like, you're one of those people that I like to. I had no idea, because she told me like in one party, it was just like, yeah, you know, like I like to like go hiking, and she said hiking, I think she didn't say like mountain climbing, and I was like, oh cool, and I'm like, actually I want to do like some content like this, and then I was like, maybe I can follow you with the camera. Then next thing you know, she's like literally on the side of a mountain, like with ropes. Like I was like, I don't think I can follow you there. Tell us about this hobby, please. Like, and if it has any inspiration to your music or not, that's up to you if you want to say if it's related. But tell us like how you started with that and like why you're so passionate about it.
I think every DJ needs to find his or her balance in life, and everyone has different hobbies, and I found myself here. I'd say I found myself with almost every sport, but these places are very specific and special because there's quiet, there's only nature around you, and you only focus on your next step or the view, which is magnificent. I don't actually know. I think some friends told me like, hey, let's go here and there, and somehow during suffering while hiking up, I was like, yeah, I like it. And I found peace and quiet there, as I said. So yeah. So usually I don't drink or anything. I drive from the party, and then if there's enough energy or time, I go hiking the next day or day after. So
after the party?
Can be sometimes, yes.
Dang, girl, that's cool. Okay, and is there any like specific location that stands out to you? Like, do you go to one like over and over again, or is there one that was a really big challenge that you overcame that was like special?
Yeah,
or, like even just a view. I don't know.
I mean, there are many goals for people who love mountains because there are many peaks in the world where you want to just climb it. Somehow, the easiest way how to go to the mountains is to go to Austria, especially for me because I'm from Brno. It's not that far. But yeah, I have definitely a list of mountains, of summits I want to climb. So yeah, and I've been to Peru, for instance, and I had some goals to go as far as possible. So it's really nice to be almost at 6 kilometers, and then you're fighting for your life, actually. And then you come back and you're more grateful for what you have in life, and you're more focused on the other things you do, DJing as well.
That's super interesting. I like that. And I know that you've talked a little bit about, or maybe it's not a little bit, to me it was because I just saw, but about like sobriety. I feel like this is maybe something that you're passionate about or talking about, especially being in the scene, or?
Well, Like not drinking at all, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen that you talk about this sometimes, like...
I mean, I'm not like a big promoter of this because I respect whatever people take or drink during the party as long as they can somehow behave. But yeah, I'm not really a good drinker, therefore I don't drink. And I have Monday to Friday job, so I really need to focus also on this part of my life. And given the fact that I'm always very like crashed after when I drink, then I decided not to do it. And it's really nice to just wake up after the party. You have lack of sleep, but you're still able to function somehow. So yeah, it's really great to go to party. I love dancing, I love partying, but also I want to have life outside of the party. So this is I would say easier way how to do it.
No, it's something that I've promoted in the past before. I don't push it too much nowadays, but I have pushed it at a couple points just to like kind of make a point, like it's possible to be able to go and do these things or enjoy them without having to take something or drink. But of course, I love my beer, I love my whatever, like, but I've also had many moments where like I don't have any drinks, nothing, and I still have an amazing time. And it's just something that I think for people that might feel like, how can I go without this or without, but it's possible. You just obviously have to be in the mental state or love the music or the people that you're around enough, right? But speaking of dancing, because you said you love dancing and you said you grew up dancing, tell me a little bit more about this before we wrap up, because I actually grew up dancing. I danced for like 15 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what style?
Everything. I started like ballet very young, but I was actually Persian dancing because I'm Persian. I did this for a long time. I was very passionate about that. And then hip hop was my thing. I got like very into hip hop until like 21, around there, and then I started partner dancing, like more Latin stuff.
Yeah, except the Persian dancing, I would say we're the same. The same. Like lots of hip hop. I have actually tried Latino as well, dance hall, these stuff. So therefore, yeah, I feel like the rhythm is in me. Yeah, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah, that's actually something that I find. So that's probably why you're such a good DJ too, because whether you produce or not, like I'm not like fully in production. I started like dabbling in Ableton a bit, but like the dancing is always what brings the musicality. Like so many people growing up would be like, how do you hear that? How do you hear this? And I'd make, because we would choreograph to like all those extra sounds that are in between, so
true. And sometimes I'm actually shocked when people don't hear actually what I hear when we talk like deeply about music, and I'm like, you hear this, you hear that. They don't hear it. They don't hear something you hear, which is interesting because it's different for sure.
Tell us if there's any last words you want to say before we wrap up, if you have any like important things coming up, maybe I don't know if in the rest of 2025, but in 2026, do you have any big plans that people can look forward to?
No, not for now. Not it's no, the only thing I might highlight is that I feel that people only visit parties when there are like big festivals or like huge headliners at the club, but these clubs are actually alive and they need to function, even if people, if there are small parties, people need to come as well. And sometimes, and I would say it's very, very often, local DJs can perform as good as the international DJs. We have very, very good DJs in the Czech Republic. So it would be really nice if people would just come over to, normal parties with local DJs and support the local scene. So that's something I would really appreciate, if people wouldn't go just where they can do huge like Insta content, but also just to just go out and enjoy the music. Yeah,
I think to highlight that, I caught myself because I used to go to Space all the time in Miami, and of course you pay like a decent amount of money for tickets unless you somehow know somebody or whatever, which I was a blend of both at certain points, luckily. But at first I was always paying full price tickets, especially because they do like first, second, third tier, and I would always get it last minute. And so bad, expensive, okay?
Yeah.
But I make jokes. I paid rent at Space for 2 years because that's basically what. So yeah, but then when I would go, I caught myself like afterwards, especially coming here and, you know, meeting more of the local DJs and stuff. And I'm like, shoot, you know, I'm seeing some of these local people from Miami that I didn't really pay attention to because I was only going for the headliners.
Yeah.
And then now I see, you know, some of them playing in Tomorrowland or whatever. And I'm like, you know, now I feel like super guilty because I'm like, not because they're a headliner, but because I'm like paying attention more to locals here. I'm like, why didn't I do that in my scene over there?
Yeah.
And so this is definitely something I think is an interesting topic. Of course, it can vary because I know maybe not everybody is super talented, or maybe you're just not into certain people's styles. I completely get that. Yes, I walk into parties still. I don't love the music, but you can also feel the same way about headliner.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's cool, and I definitely have grown like an appreciation for more of the local artists, like you said, being here now. And again, we're having this conversation for that reason, and I want to have these conversations with more of the local people too, so that you guys can see and of course expose them to the music and see what their talent is, because they're really good, and a lot of them have been playing for a long time too. It's not just been like, you know, quick 2 years all of a sudden, oh look, hey guys, like they've been doing this for a while. So and then speaking of like local artists, is there anyone in the scene that you maybe would want to like highlight, or are there any venues or parties that people could look into, like if somebody's visiting the Czech Republic, where would they find like some of these clubs or parties to go to that maybe are not like the main places that they would find like online?
Yeah, I would say Resident Advisor is a really good source for Prague. And then, yeah, I would say Exit Club in Brno, or something which only happens once a year, but is still worth visiting. Koal Festival, not that big festival, but beautiful vibes, beautiful. So, yeah, there are many, many local or, you know, small venues, small events where you can go. So, yeah, it's, and you can Google it easily. So, we're in AI era, so you can Google it.
How do you feel about AI?
I work with it a lot, so I got used to it. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. I know. Crazy times.
Look out for doppelgangers of yourself on Instagram or something. Hopefully people don't use your face and then make you... Yeah. Thank you so much, Jaqullin, for joining us today, and it was a pleasure getting to know you, and hopefully get to know you more. Listen to her sets, SoundCloud, Instagram, everywhere. She has some good music out there, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.